All right, if you clicked on the picture you saw, it probably said something about how to beat pancreatic cancer. And we're going to walk through how we beat pancreatic cancer, specifically how my mom beat pancreatic cancer, and what we did as far as health protocols and the decision-making process we sort of went through to get there. So if that's what you want to hear, or maybe you just discovered you had cancer, or so when you got cancer and you got questions about this, that's what we're going to be discussing in this video. And in regards to pancreatic cancer, my mom had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and now she's cancer-free in a year. So we're going to talk about what we did to get there. So my name's Brian Johnson. My mom's name is
Anastasia Hansel.
And we'll just walk through what we did in this video and maybe splice it up. You can jump to sections later regarding health. So just for a quick reference, I am not a doctor. I had cancer, so I became obsessed with metabolic health following cancer. And the references we're going to dig into as far as actually educated doctors here is stuff provided by Dr. Mackus. He's an online Substack. You can look him up. Dr. Jack Cruz, a quantum biologist who, should he ever see this video, will probably say I'm saying everything wrong, but he's an incredible asset. Has a blog online, Jack Cruz blog. Dr. Yahia Anand, who probably has the best Instagram to follow regarding everything you're going to hear today. Dr. Seafried, he's the head of biology at Boston College, a PhD in biochemistry. Joel Green is the author of a book called The Immunity Code, which is primarily deals with immune health. And another guy named James Nestor, who wrote a book called Breathe, and that is how to breathe. So those are the references where all this came from, and also like living through cancer, which is real fun, right? Living through cancer, it's a good time.
You don't sign up for it.
You don't sign up for it. All right, I'm just going to give a brief explanation of what I had, so you understand where my head is on all of this, and then we're going to go through your story on pancreatic cancer and what you did. So I had esthesioneuroblastoma, which is a tumor in my upper left sinus. And this manifested itself as what I thought was just a really bad cold that lasted for months and never went away. And finally, when I got it diagnosed, I discovered that it was a tumor, which is a fun day, right? When you hear you have cancer. Since these are markers you've forever stuck in your head. So the process I went through, many doctors I went through. I had a surgeon who did 2 11-hour surgeries where they went up my nose, removed the tumor, and then they peeled off the top of my head and folded down the dermal layer of my head. In beneath part of my skull they removed, and then carved out a giant chunk inside of my skull, which is right at the base of my skull. And that happened twice because they wanted to have more fun the second time. And then after that, while in recovery, still recovering from this, I went on chemotherapy, taking cisplatin every 2 weeks. And this also included, along with it, 6 weeks of daily proton radiation therapy. So that was all happening at once, which is also, once you start to experience joys like chemotherapy, they stack them. They're like, now we're going to radiate you while we're giving you chemotherapy. So during this time, I think what struck me was that each oncologist or surgeon had their way to solve it. One guy's solution was, I'm going to cut that out of you. The other guy's was, or gals was, I'm going to give you all these pharmacological devices. And the other one was, I'm going to put you in a microwave for a couple minutes a day until you can no longer, breathe. So, the problem I had was I got those were the only solutions that were given to me. And I had a nutritionist, an oncological nutritionist, and his advice was to eat as much food and get as fat as I could. Because it's going to be a nightmare what you go into, which is partially good and bad, but basically no health advice. So go eat whatever you want, which I've discovered later to be one of the worst pieces of advice you could ever give someone going through cancer. Through all this, I got the chemo, gave me ototoxicity, which destroyed my hearing in my left ear, my balance, a bunch of cognition. I have like permanent low-grade balance distortion, which is, and a dissociative sort of disorder that comes along with that. And so that's sort of where I am now. Cancer-free now for 6 years. So this was in 2019, went through all this right before we went into COVID. But now healthy, continue to get scans yearly, and things are going well. And I'll turn at this point over. And so in all of that, all I did was obsess over metabolic health, which is cancer therapy, to that point, and trying to understand what that is. And then my mom came back with the news that she found out. And you want to talk about where you were? I'll turn this kind of over to you, Mom. Where you were on a journey, right? And you came back from it. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So health has always been an asset. I'm just somebody who's never, ever sick. I'm healthy, cycled across the United States, had just come off of doing the Camino de Santiago in Spain.
Which is like 200 miles or something? It's a
whatever.
walk.
But you're walking from 4 a.m. until dark every night. Yeah.
How old are you? You're obviously
Well, I was 78 at the time when I did the Camino.
So 200 miles.
Yeah.
To 78.
Yeah, and was actually I didn't try to be this, but I ended up being one of the fastest hikers, and so I mean I just was feeling great and thrilled I could do it. So when I came back to the United States, we were in Tennessee with granddaughter and family and whatnot, and my stomach was just starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm not somebody who has stomach issues or anything. I just thought, this is weird. You just don't feel your organs. What's going on? It wasn't painful like I needed to go to the ER. It's just something, I just call it uncomfortable. Came back to
And was that like, sorry, were you like, did it make you sit weird or?
No, it was very cold in Tennessee like it is now. And so I was wearing two leggings instead of just one, just for some warmth. Then I thought, well, maybe the leggings are too tight. So, I took one off and still didn't seem to, something was wrong. Yeah, I could tell. So I went back, came to California, and walked into the doctor's office, and I was feeling, whatever, not sick or whatnot, just this uncomfortable. But she took my blood pressure, and it had just plummeted. And so, she said, so are you dizzy, whatever, fainting? I said, no, none of the above. But she said, I want you to go in tomorrow and get a CT scan. So that was the happy news.
Did she say later she had any sort of, I have a thought on this that I didn't tell you about?
Yeah. But anyway, so then they told me that I had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And it was just like news with punishing fury. You're just,
And so stage 4.
Stage 4.
And
and then I was told.
What does that mean to you?
I would have maybe 4 months to live, and the chemotherapy would be a part of the rest of my life, and that palliative care would be assigned to me. And I was a caregiver for 17 years, and I know that palliative care is usually what you have for the patient, because the patient is dying. And I said, am I dying? I didn't feel like I was dying, but I'm going, what is going on here? So that swell of emotions, particularly fear, can grow exceedingly fast. And I ended up calling the enemy the stalker. It says in the Bible that the devil prowls around like a roaring lion. And I just envisioned a roaring lion, and I called him the stalker. And I thought, he is trying to take me down. And I thought, there's nobody that's going to take my joy away from me. So I felt like there's a battle to be fought. And even the oncologists, they all said at the get-go, they said there was something different about me. They just said, whatever I brought to the table, there was something different. And so I let them know. I said, you just have to know there's a God who is there. And there's a battle to be won here, and we're going to win it. So that was kind of my intro. Yeah. And what I had that Brian didn't have, Brian has, like he said, became obsessed with, cancer and how to beat it and what to do and what not. So from the get-go, Brian just said, Mom, he said, you're not going to die. And he got me right away on Ivermectin and Mebendazole. And I learned that those were naughty words in the medical field. But I was not.
No, not really in the medical field, just in the people's
certain
heads.
People's minds, exactly, And so, but I just, I knew nothing about it, but began to, I call him Dr. Brian because I learned so much from him. And so that was the beginning of my dealing with the stalker and trying to fight him.
And now, stage 4, just as an explanation on that means that it has gone into another system. It's sort of broken through your pancreas and accessed other systems.
Yeah, it had gone into my liver, metastasized into my liver.
I'm pretty sure at the time you were only stage 3.
Okay.
And post biopsy was when they discovered it on your liver.
Okay.
And there's a lot of controversy right now if biopsies tend to spread, because once they do go and break up the tumor mass, it does sort of expose it to potentially spreading faster. Because you had, it was pancreatic cancer, and then after a check, you got in, and they were going to take that out through this surgery called the Whipple surgery, right?
They talked about that.
Yeah. The Whipple surgery and is a very invasive surgery, and if you're going through, a lot of this is going to be prefaced on maybe you just found out about cancer, because they say a lot of these things to you, and the problem when you have just encountered cancer is you don't know what any of this stuff means. And so someone tells you, I can cut that thing out of your nose. We can cure you by cutting this part of you out of your body. And the same. A guy was once told, we can save you by cutting off your leg so the gangrene is gone. Well, it's very easy to know at that point you won't have a leg. But the post-surgery for a lot of surgery with cancer, the Whipple being one of them, and what happened to me is you're not normal on the other side of those surgeries. And so my advice really is press your doctors to find out what you will be like after these things. Will you have how permanent are the things happening? And just provide a lot of clarity, and actually being able to talk with somebody that is living on the other side of that surgery to help you make your decisions. Because all cancers are not the same. They all move at different speeds. You had pancreatic cancer is highly aggressive. I had a Esthesioneuroblastoma, which is a bad cancer because they don't know anything about it, but it's very slow in growth. So your doctor was wanting surgery immediately. And my doctors were like, oh, we can wait, we don't care. A couple months doesn't matter. And it's important when you're looking at something like, we're going to get into some stuff with ivermectin, is that time matters here. Because if you can start seeing the cancer go away without the surgery or the chemotherapy because it's not moving quickly, then look at that as an option. And and figure out a way to be like, maybe I don't need to get this cut out immediately, depending on your type of cancer. And all cancers are different. So you can't speak the same to all of them. So in my case, I wish I had a point where, hey, I'm going to try ivermectin and Mebendazole for a couple of months before I make a decision to remove pieces of my skull. So an important fact when you're getting into these issues. The Whipple surgery is very hard for recovery, especially at your age. It makes it even more difficult for recovery. Now, you went in to go, my mom got cleared for a special treatment called Histotripsy, right?
Yeah,
you want to explain that?
What I learned, what motivated me, the first surgeon that we talked with, because you and Tim were in the room with me, I think, the same time, was Dr. Abbas, who is known in the world of histotripsies. And that is it's an unbelievable new procedure with people with liver cancer. It's non-invasive. It's like it's treated like almost like an ultrasound where they just hover over the liver and they liquefy the liver cancer. So it just kind of goes away. So immediately I said, that's what I want to do. We're going to do the histotripsy. And so this was unbelievable. So I've been on Ivermectin and Mebendazole for quite a while, but finally I was cleared for the histotripsy. So I'm laying on the gurney next to the technician. She does the x-ray because they wanted to x-ray it just before they actually did the procedure the next day. And so the technician says, I think the doctors need to see this. And immediately I'm going, oh, great. It's probably stage 5, liver cancer now.
You always assume
it's getting better.
Scans are going to reveal it everywhere.
Yeah. So after a while, the doctors come in and they look at the x-ray. And it's like they declared, they said, the mass is gone. They said, you don't qualify. I said, what do you mean I don't qualify? I said, that's why I'm here. I want to have the histotripsy. They said, there's no need for it. They said, the cancer is gone.
It's gone.
And that's when I got...
And that was just a couple months of ivermectin at that point, right?
Yes. And I got in the car with my friend and I said, you know what? I think I'm a miracle. I mean, I just, I don't run around saying I'm a miracle, but at that point, I just thought, there is no way I could have made this happen. Yeah. So, and just to clarify too, I think Brian may have said this, doctors don't just love hearing that you're taking ivermectin and Mebendazole, but I was very upfront about it, and nobody said don't take it. But they just kind of treat it like it's aspirin or something, But, I kept saying to my oncologist, because he said, Anastasia, he says, we talk about you in our meetings. And we've never seen anything like this. They say, you're just, we don't know what category to put you in.
I mean, the diagnosis, one of the first meetings was, okay, you're going to go on chemotherapy every 2 weeks for the rest of your life. And the rest of your life is like a nice term, they say, which means until you die. And one of the cancers, the spready cancer, had gone. And that brought us back to the liver, or the pancreatic cancer.
Exactly. So I went. You can show do you have the graph to show? Did you?
So we can put up this graph, but we'll get into this. So this chart that we'll put up refers to every cancer has got. There's ways they measure that. They scan you. They do all this stuff to you to take a look at stages of where you are to see if things are growing, they're spreading. One of the things they look at is markers, and this is blood markers and different tests they do, and all cancers have different ones depending on where they are. The specific one, the best one for pancreatic cancer, is called CA19-9. So this is a blood marker. You go into a test, and it gives you a numbered rating. And normal on that is like 10. Like if anybody without cancer, you go in, and it's like 10. So when your first one, which is not on this chart, Do you remember what it was?
It was 1,640.
It's more than it was 1,800. I think was your
1,800,
first
yeah,
one. The
yeah.
1,600 is the first one that we got the recorded note on.
That's right. Okay.
So, and that was in January. It was just less than a year ago. So, really, really high. And in fact, I've talked to people with pancreatic cancer post this, and they're not. This is a high number that you're dealing with. So, if you have cancer, it's critical to find that marker so that you can assess whether the things you are doing are helping or they're harming. And you get offered a lot of things as far as chemotherapy and other therapies and health advice and ways to solve things. If you have no way to measure that, then you just sort of think it's all magic and you don't know what's going on. And it becomes quite frustrating. So a key point, if you've got cancer, find the markers, get them from your doctor or your oncologist, find out what they're looking at, and determine what you're doing. And every time you get that test, every 2 weeks or whatever, take a look at it and evaluate how you've been spending your time, what you've been eating, and what you've been doing for your health to see if that thing is moving one way or the other. Because people are always like, should I take ivermectin? I don't know. Well, there's a lot of answers to that question. So I will probably have a graphic up here to show what it is, but that's very critical. Find out what your markers are, and ask about the aggressiveness of the cancer. Is it fast moving or not? Because that'll help you make decisions. Because the first one is, am I going to do chemo or not? Well, there's surgery, right? They want to cut it out first, which is a big one where you're going, okay, if this surgery is going to do more harm than good, will I be carrying around a bag to pee in for the rest of my days at age 50 when I got this? What's the decision here? So they move you into chemo. And what's it like to hear, hey, you're going to take chemo? Because
well, I knew nothing. I just went into this just knowing nothing. And so you're just having this stuff put in you. And
so what happened? You go into the infusion lab.
Yes,
right?
yes. And there's this, I wish I had this picture of this little girl, because it was like she's being given this medicine and she's going, nope, she doesn't want that medicine. And that's kind of how I felt. I just thought, here we go, but I did it, and obviously that it didn't hurt, but the side effects of chemo are not fun. And I just remember just saying to Brian one day, I mean, the bathroom routine, it was just so gross. The whole thing smelled atrocious. And then Brian said, yeah, he said, I know, Mom, you feel like you're a walking cistern. I said,
you're
absolutely.
A septic tank. Yeah.
A septic tank. That's exactly what I felt like. It was just, not fun at all. Yeah.
And you go from, your the first week you sort of go through the illness of having it in you. And then the second week, your immune system just fully collapses and your white blood cell counts drop. And you're most vulnerable in that second week, actually, to everything.
And I was watching, we were taking my temperature too, because one of my granddaughters is a nurse in the ICU, and that was a wonderful gift, going to the ICU, and there Kate was. It was really great. But so she would always say, if it gets to 104, Nana, she said, you come in. So I came in. I'd say, Brian, can you take me to the hospital? Or Joanne, can you take me? So I was in and out of the hospital some, not ridiculous, but it was it was a part of life. It was just a part of every day. And I say I have been an out and about person my whole life, and all of a sudden I realized I am going nowhere. But my challenge was to be now here. And so that's been my life over this last year. And another, Brian would tell me too, he said, Mom, he said, this is so unbelievable. He said, because people your age, this isn't like a good news.
Yeah.
But I have to share with you something really fun. I have a 97-year-old neighbor who lives by herself. So I said to her one day, her name's Joanne. I said, Joanne, I said, does 79 sound young to you? Because that's what I am. And she said, oh my gosh. She says, you have all of your 80s to go through. I just told her, I said, that's the best way to treat that I've ever heard. I said, it's kind of like, oh, I have a lot of life left to live anyway. So anything like that.
Stuff like that, it's encouraging. One of my doctors in one of the meetings, I heard him saying to somebody, I can't remember who was in the room at the time, and they're like, oh, no, yeah, but usually I think it was my dad at the time, saying usually they get this cut out and then, like 3 years later it's back and we've got to go do it all again. And when you're in the middle of that and you're about to go through this and you hear like 3 years from now I'll probably, have recurrence, it's a terrible thought. And 6 years and I've had no recurrence. So a few points on this chemo decision. So chemo, there's a lot of controversy between chemotherapy, ivermectin, and mebendazole. And people are really binary about this. I'm not really that binary about it. You can take all three of them together, or you can make a decision not to put chemo in you. Now, obviously, chemo is horrific and pretty much destroys your entire immune system and makes you feel like a septic tank. And it's an ungodly experience. But I'm not totally against chemotherapy. Just a lot of people have different opinions on that. I'm not totally against it. Chemotherapy does attack the cells. It does weaken the infrastructure. And cancer cells have an ability to hide from your immune system. And your immune system is the thing that destroys the cancer ultimately. That is the victor in this whole thing. It's something already in your body. So as much as people want to say, take this chemo, it's not, there's no magic pills here. Your magic pill is your own health. You have to amplify your own immune system in order for that to be strong enough to beat the stalker, right? That's inside of you. So,
and that's what Brian and Joanne have been really helpful with me on, is what I am eating, just to be sure that that's no sugar. So that's been huge for me because I tend to cheat, but not now. I'm just totally no sugar because my immune system. And I've tried to every Monday do fasting also, because I've learned that when you're fasting, that's when you're. Explain it. What?
When you're fasting is when. So when you fast, you have your body has a natural immune system growth to it, and there's a term called autophagy, which on average strikes at about 70 hours of a fasted state. So at that point, when you reach autophagy, and fasting is great for you in all forms. At about 70 hours, and it varies depending on health, that's when your body turns to consuming senescent cells or dead cells within your body and actual cancer cells as food. So your body will start to feed on the very thing that's killing you. So fasting,
which you want.
Which is what you want. You want the cancer gone. So that fasting is good. It's highly recommended because it'll also boost your immune system. You want your body to fight for its life. So your T cells are the things that you want to improve. And I just want to, for anyone wanting to know more, look up Dr. Patrick Stone. He actually owns the LA Times. He has some great breakdowns on T cells and your immune system online. All right, so let's get into ivermectin first. And now for the big question with ivermectin is, first of all, where to get it. Where do you get ivermectin? We ended up getting it from an outfit in India, and this is kind of what it looks like here. And these are 12 milligram tablets that you take in there. And ivermectin has this lingering debate that got political during COVID era, where people were like, "Oh, is ivermectin horse tranquilizer?" Blah blah blah, and it's not. It's a Nobel Prize winning antiparasitic. It's used all over the world. It's one of the most widely used therapeutics on the planet, but it became very political during COVID, and I just encourage people, throw all of that out. Like, this is your life or your friend's life or whatever. Try this. There's no side effects from taking ivermectin. And back in the days of COVID, people were like, "Oh my gosh, is 3 milligrams of ivermectin going to kill you?"
Yeah, I had no side effects, whatever.
You had none whatsoever.
No.
Now, they were debating over 3 million. How many milligrams were you taking a day?
I was taking 4 of those.
Five, actually. Yeah.
5 of those a day, and then the Mebendazole.
So you were on 70 milligrams of ivermectin a day. And the only side effect was your cancer was going away.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good side effect.
Yeah, yeah.
So just some numbers on that, and I will try to share these things, but what you want to take when it comes to ivermectin is 1 milligram per kilogram of your own body weight. So depending on how much you weigh, that's how you can make your assessment on what that is. And you can actually go up over that or below that, but that's generally the standard of what you can get into. And there's variations on that, but that should get you through whatever it is you're going on. And again, remember that metric we talked about? Look at the number that you got in your blood mark or whatever. Is the number going up or down? You'll be taking all these things together. Ivermectin works synergistically with chemo. So they both work together. It won't stop it. It will only aid it. Now, ivermectin's primary thing is it stops, people think of it as an antiparasitic. It does all that. But in this case, it stops like the stem cell growth and the spread of the tumor. So ivermectin and Mebendazole do 2 different things. Ivermectin specifically stops that thing. It targets the growth so that it will not move. So that's what you focus on with the ivermectin, and buy a lot, and just get used to taking that every day. Horribly, right now, the ivermectin's got crazy expensive online, so people have realized it's selling like crazy. So the prices have suddenly become horrendous. So now I want to move on to Mebendazole, which I believe in your specific cancer, Mebendazole did actually more than the ivermectin. And I think you were on almost 1,000 milligrams a day when it came to Mebendazole. In the case of Mebendazole, that is a very high dose. It typically comes in around 220 milligrams, 440 milligrams, but 1,000 milligrams a day is a very high dose. And when you get really high, there can be side effects, that there is some harm to your liver, which everything you're doing in cancer is harming your liver. So you do want to protect your liver. And we had you on milk thistle. I remember that's why you're on the milk thistle. That's why you're on, why you want all this antioxidant stuff going through your body. CBD oil is also a good thing to be taken along with it as an adjunct. So Mebendazole, what does it do? Mebendazole targets glucose transfer. So if you don't know, cancer feeds on sugar. It's its number one thing. It lives on sugar and it lives on glutamine. And you can block access to sugar by not eating it. Glutamine's in everything, and I think your body will make it if it doesn't have it. Your body will also make glucose if you don't give it. So you really can't stop your body from completely from sugar, because your body will manufacture it itself, which is why ketosis is the keto diet is where you want to be with these. I think we'll get into some of that later, but if your body is looking now for ketones instead of sugar as its food, it further takes it off this chain of tumor comfort and like what the tumor wants to live. You're disrupting everything that thing needs to survive on. So ivermectin stops the spread of growth. Mebendazole actually stops the ability for it to push food through the actual tumor. It clogs all the pipes, and it starts to, it's funny because you read stuff on that and it says it starts to ghost. I don't know if you remember your scan, and they saw the tumor after a few months, and they basically said it looks like it's like, oh, it's half there, like it's almost becoming invisible, which is strange because they're looking for it to shrink, and instead it's sort of like, it wasn't even showing up. It was starting to ghost visually, like it was losing its structural integrity. So Mebendazole, you can buy this actually on Amazon. This is the 444 tablets. I take these all the time. And this is the Ivermectin. It's a little more difficult to get right now, but if you're dying, figure out how to do it. It's not impossible. So a couple other pieces in it. You were on FOLFIRINOX every 2 weeks. That was your chemotherapy they were giving you, right?
Yeah, it sounds like right. Yeah.
So this was our initial strategy, and my initial thinking on this is that the chemotherapy weakens the tumor, and it also destroys your immune system. So your immune system is what destroys the cancer. So when you take the chemotherapy, you are actually, you are exposing it, saying, here I am, and then the warriors that were going to come and kill it are all dead. So what do you do about that? So the pressure we wanted to see was what we were doing targeting to change, and can we improve the immune system? So we went down boosting your immune health, and the goal was chemotherapy every 2 weeks. Once we started to see a change, stretch the weeks, stretch the time between each chemotherapy to give more time for your immune system to spend time coming back to life and destroying the stalker. So that was the overall plan as a strategy, and the rest of it is just tactical stuff we got into. And a few things you didn't take, I'm going to put you on now, is Fisetin is another one. Fisetin is a very cheap therapeutic, but it basically targets senescent cells. So when you go into autophagy, it eats up all the cellular data and just helps your body process it and destroy it from your body, all your dead cells. That's something you want to take just before you go back into chemo. And if you're sick already or on something else, you don't want to take Fisetin actually at all. The other one you need to be on is Apeginin. So Apeginin works similar to Fisetin, but it boosts your energy tremendously. I use it now because it pushes you down into such deep sleep states. When you're in those deep sleep states, that's when all your cellular activity starts to happen. Like all the metabolic stuff starts going on when you're way down. So another key thing when you're on this, try and sleep deep, long, get away to study it, wear a watch is what I do, and see how long you can stay down there, because the further you are in deep sleep and not in these light stages of stress and anxiety and getting hit by cortisol at 3 a.m, that is going to actually heal your body. That's the healing state. Rest and digest, they call that. So health-wise too, just running through our points here, no sugar, no carbs. Carbs are just stored sugar. So neither one of those two things are a part of your life if you want to deal with, if you want to cure cancer, okay? Those things just have to go. You know, there's no ice cream. You were in bed. Do you remember this when I came to visit you and you were coming off of chemo? And the nurse comes up, and on the wall there's this chart that's like cancer, pancreatic cancer, stage, those stuff. And the nurse comes in, it's like, what do you want for dinner or after dinner? And she's like, do you want a...
ice cream?
Yeah, she's like, banana fudge sundae? And
I know it.
It was so hard for me because this thing with the health industry, I'm going, you have someone with cancer. The worst possible thing they could have is sugar. And they're like, let me bring you a milkshake. I remember with me, I got the worst health advice. So let me bring the thing, let me feed the thing we just tried to kill. It is absolutely insane.
And then I've been exercising a lot. Like I walk about 3 to 5 miles a day, which has been, it's been great.
Exercise could be better than everything. A lot of people get the cancer and they think, what am I going to do? Movement of your body is the biggest thing. your lymphatic system, which takes all the garbage out of your body and gets rid of it, has no natural pump. The only way your lymphatic system works is if you move. So you got to walk. I tell people to bounce up and down, shake your body, just like I get up. Right before I start running in the mornings, I literally just bounce and shake to get that lymphatic system.
And you do a cold plunge.
Pulling everything out, yeah. You got to get your hormetic effects in there. You got to get. We'll talk about that in a minute here. So for meals, 1 meal a day if you can. Always stretch out those meals. Go longer if you can, and try and get into autophagy if you can. Go into the keto diet. We won't get into all that stuff here, but you want to live on the keto diet.
I lost about 30 pounds. And I looked at myself and I went, oh my gosh, I felt like I looked anorexic. So I just thought, yikes, I got to put on some weight here. Yeah, so I've done that.
Yeah.
Put on some weight. Yeah.
There, you can go on Dr. Seafried, the guy I was talking about. He's got interviews with people that have actually stopped eating for like 30 to 40 days. You can find them on YouTube. And they've gone from stage 4 cancer to no cancer in 30 days. But not, I mean, you got to do a lot to not eat for 30 or 40 days. But if you're serious, it's your life. Okay. We've talked about getting on to ketones, lack of sugar targeting. The next thing we're getting into is gut health. So why gut health? So your gut is the thing that is going to ingest all the nutrients in your body and decide what's going to go into me and what's going to go out of me. So a big part of fighting cancer is actually just health. And depending on what stage you're in, depending on what part of life you're in, I don't know what your health condition is. If you are healthier or an active person, this is going to go better for you. Health, if you're looking for something like Ivermectin as the magic pill, like, oh, I take this and cure me, fighting cancer is a quantum change in your lifestyle. Your lifestyle has to change to something else. That is actually the cure. It is not all the other crap you do. You literally have to die to what you were and move on to something else, because you cannot live the same after that thing.
I'm just going to mention a book that has meant a lot to me is Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he wrote this about his experience in the concentration camps. And I love one of the main questions that he asked himself when he was in the concentration camp. He said, what is the assignment that my context is giving me? And sometimes I like to say, what is the invitation that my context is giving me? And I would say that cancer, it's a whole change in your lifestyle. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I feel like I've had a major guru here, and as well as Joanne, that has just really been incredible to encourage me. In this whole process. So my cancer markers went from 1,640 down to 8. And that was pretty...
In about 8 months, 9 months?
Yeah, about 9 months, And then I took a break. I'm an adventure coach, and so I was up in Alaska, and then I was up in San Juan leading initiatives and whatnot. Took a break. And it was a challenge because I was still dealing with chemotherapy effects, hair loss and bathroom routines and whatnot. You're in and out of tents and whatever, but did it. And so what we've done is we've kind of we've let my body just have a break to see what happens, what will happen. Okay, in other words, will the cancer markers go up? And the cancer markers have slowly started going up, and I've been off chemo for 5 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we just said, this started with a prescription of, I'm going to give you chemo 2 weeks for the rest of your, every 2 weeks for the rest of your life. As someone who's been on chemo, and I couldn't handle that for my mom.
And 4 months to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll be on chemo, and we will have palliative care. And I'm going, that's for people who are dying. I'm not dying. So I just thought, no, I'm not dying. Anyway, so I've been a fighter from the get-go with encouraging coaches to help me fight. Yeah.
All right. So what did I put you on for your gut? Do you remember?
Remind me.
It's the apple peel powder. Right?
Oh, that's right. Apple peel powder. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. It comes like this. You can make it yourself.
Yes.
You can buy this on Amazon as well. So your gut is your brain's brain. The stuff that comes through your gut goes directly through your vagal system to your brain to tell you what to think. If all you're telling your brain is these are hot Takis, your brain's going to turn into hot Takis. So you need to have a warrior there that controls what goes in to that thing. And that's what apple peel powder does. It forms bifidobacteria. That's the strength lining of your walls. It basically identifies, like, are you good for my human or not? And it doesn't let through the things that aren't. So you want to stay on that daily. And the thing is, on your body only has so many resources. If you work in computers, you only have so many resources in this machine to manage what is going on. That's what your brain is trying to do. If your brain is getting bad information, it starts shutting down resources that it needs to fight the cancer. And it works just the same way. So you want to free that thing up to say, focus all your attention on the cancer. And that is done at the gut level. It's going to reduce the anxiety you feel about everything is by only putting good food in there. It brings down the inflammation on your body. It clarifies your mind through the healthy stuff that you're putting in. So, and we're also all organic on everything. So organic foods too. Here's a note. When you are I brought an example here. We probably can't zoom in on it, but there's a term, always buy the 9s. So when you go shopping, you'll see like a PLU number on these, and it starts with a 9. Only buy 9s. That is actually organic if it has a 9. You'll mostly see 4s out there. A lot of stores put 4s in their organic side, which is not. 4s means it's raised with pesticides, but technically, and if you go below 4, it's like we've pumped it full of all sorts of chemicals that it's probably not even food anymore. 4 is the lowest I think I'd ever put in me. But always buy the 9s. Just start doing that as a practice. So bifidobacteria, that seals the gut. You also want to get into Akkermansia is another one that I tried to get you on. That is achieved by eating green bananas, only green. If these turn yellow, don't eat them. That's just a sugar bomb. And you mix that with grapefruit. And that is going to produce Akkermansia, which is like farming out all of your gut. It's like multiplying your bifido by 1,000 with a whole other skew of stuff that's healing you. So we had you on for the gut, 2 scoops of apple peels a day, mixed into some fat. I think I had you on HMOs, which are human milk oligosaccharides, for a while at the very beginning of this thing. Those, you can buy it mixed in with the bifidobacteria. We did some grapefruit and green bananas for Akkermansia. You did quercetin and zinc, right?
Quercetin I take all the time, and zinc I take all the time. Anyone in life should be taking quercetin and zinc every day. In fact, my doctor said to me, she said, because I haven't had cholesterol problems that I knew of. She says, my gosh, she says, your cholesterol is down 100 points. I said, seriously? And she said, yeah. I said, well, that's the quercetin. She couldn't believe it.
Only eat it, take it after food too, or your stomach might get a little weird. But it's quercetin is so good for you. If you're asthmatic, quercetin is fantastic for you. Also, I didn't have you on this, but NAC, N-acetylcysteine, This is a massive booster of glutathione, which regulates your entire immune system completely. So you should be taking NAC. You should probably be on NAC too, which is also super cheap. NAC is like the cheapest, best improvement you can give in your body. Take it in the mornings when you want energy, and the rest of the day, and not at night.
So you can tell when I have people call me about the pancreatic cancer journey, then I say, I think you want to talk to my son, Brian. I said, he's the doctor in town. He has all the answers. So he gets, the next one.
It's hard talking to people with cancer. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fear that hits you.
I found people just need hope. They just need hope is what they're, they want to know what to do. And exactly. It's just.
To see your chart go from 1600 to 8 or whatever it ended up on is hope, right?
It's hope. Yeah.
It's not, hey, 4 months, chemo, you're going to be throwing up until you die.
Yeah.
And you're going to hate everything that happens to your life up until the last days.
That's right. Yeah.
That is not motivation.
And then too, I think, like my cancer markers have gone up a little bit. And so I've kind of reframed it a little bit because I've said, well, you know what? I know what to do. And I may not be totally cancer-free for the rest of my life. Maybe it's going to, come back a little bit. And so I've kind of reframed it. Maybe I'm just going to be somebody I've heard people say they're living with cancer. It doesn't mean it's taking them down. It's just something that's a part of their journey right now, and so not to be afraid of it, but to know what to do, I think is the huge.
Yeah, where do I go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everybody that hits that point in their life where they're confronted with a real transition, a real trauma, a real fork in the road. It is. When I heard the "you've got cancer" part, it was almost a joke that it sounded like everybody's voices started to sound like Charlie Brown characters. Like I couldn't even hear what people were saying. If my wife Kate wasn't there with me at the time, I wouldn't have known anything. I think she just started pointing like "walk this way" because I was so out of it. But you realize everything gets real focused, and your world gets really, really small, and you start to make all these evaluations.
Yeah, well, you're pretty much in shock because what the heck, What,
it never happens. It's not going to happen to me.
Yeah, I'm healthy, and so it was a real. But there's something that I think we might be starting to wind down.
Couple more slides. Okay. We got to blast through here.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Need some more coffee?
No, I'm fine. I'm okay. Brian, you're like the doctor. Le docteur.
I'll run through some quick stuff here. Parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. When you're in that sympathetic state, this is your fight or flight system. Your body doesn't know what to do. You want to live in the parasympathetic state. So you can look up stuff on how to get there. A great way to get into the parasympathetic state is the ice tank. So
the cold plunge.
Among all the great things an ice tank does, it takes all the stress or nightmares you're dealing with, and it focuses your attention, and it will calm anything. There's no better moment than getting out of the ice tank into the sunlight. It is literally the best thing. No matter what's on your mind, the stress will go away. Another one that is key for dealing with cancer in your cells is clearing hypoxia. So hypoxia is a state where your cells get into a state where they don't have oxygen, can't get oxygen. So you need to do something called breath work. And a lot of people are like, this is yoga or whatever, but it's not. It's pushing oxygenation of your cells. So you can look up some guys online. You could probably just YouTube breath work. You can YouTube Wim Hof, but you want to do heavy breathing to the point of like, fill your whole body and blow it out. Go back and forth for about 30 blows and then hold it And if you can get your body up to where you can hold your breath for 90 seconds, you're immediately starting to kill the cancer in your body. And that basically oxygenates your cells, and that cell allows your T cells to actually do their job against the cancer. I can't tell you how important this is. Do this a couple times a day. I still do it. Get used to it. Make it a part of your diet, breath work. It also, just like ice, moves your body into a parasympathetic state. And no matter what stress you're dealing with, you become the driver once again at that point. If you don't want to do the breathing but want to do this another fun way, I will recommend niacin and zinc. Blushing niacin and zinc, maybe once a week. If you've never taken niacin that's blushing, get ready. You turn red for like 6 hours, so plan on not going outside and feeling very hot. But what's that just doing is clearing the hypoxia within your cells, and it's extremely healthy. All right, I'm going to step a bit into the part here now where people are going to go, you're insane. But this is clearly reality for me. Eat local foods, okay? The food you buy, not just organic, but organic grown by you. The reason for this is the electron makeup of those things were grown in the area where you are, where you've lived in. So if you've lived in an area for a long time and you're eating the foods in that area, your literal electron makeup functions in a specific way that is different than somebody in another parallel or latitude. So if you're importing food from some other place, the energy in that food is actually different than the ones that are near you. And the closest way I can say this helps, it's like putting together a puzzle where the pieces don't fit and you're smashing them together, and you're still trying to make it sort of looks right. If you eat foods in your latitude, grown in your area, the puzzle pieces cinch together, the inflammation will come down, your body will start to function better. And a lot of people, methylene blue has gotten very popular. This is another adjunct to this strategy. And I highly recommend looking up Jack Cruse's interview with on the Andrew Huberman podcast. Goes deep in the weeds on all this stuff. But if you are taking methylene blue, that is going to drive, that speeds up your electron transport chain and your Krebs cycle, produces ATP faster, boosts metabolic function faster. And cancer is metabolic dysfunction. It's not cancer. Your body has chosen to go directions that it got confused on. You want to realign those states. Always buy the 9s. We're going to stay in the Jack Cruse world for a minute. Light. You want to remove blue light from your life. Go into your house. If you have LEDs, get rid of all of them. If you work in an office, get rid of every LED in your house. All that crap about LEDs is probably what gave you cancer in the first place. It's taken the red light spectrum basically out of the light. So everything you get out of sunlight, what did you do every day I told you to do? Go
in the sun. Be in the sun.
Be in the sun.
Yeah, right.
You want to drive vitamin D, natural vitamin D, not vitamin D that's fake that you take, actual vitamin D that your body produces naturally. That comes from sun hitting your skin. Get into the sun, get tan, drive melanin to your skin. This is going to, that's another one of the things I think. They used to put people on the tops of hospitals, and I don't know if they do this anymore. They just pull the beds up there and they lay people under the sun because it worked so well. Instead, they leave everybody in cancerous blue lights and fluorescent lights in hospitals now and watch them die. Wow. So change all your lights to incandescent red lights. If you want to think I'm crazy, again, look up Jack Cruse. Why is this important? So your body has a circadian rhythm, the way your body functions.
1 minute left.
1 minute left. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of liberty on it. Your body works like a clock. If your body doesn't know what time of day it is, which is what blue light does to you, then it doesn't know anything. It doesn't know when the sun's up or down. It doesn't know when to release or secrete hormones. Your endocrine system gets confused. To get out in the sun in the morning, get that light on your skin, go to bed early, to have that thing take place properly under proper outdoor lights, your body will start to tune and function better. If not, your body doesn't know when to release hormones, doesn't know how to run your endocrine system well. So you want to clean all that stuff up. And all that vitamin D is going to produce natural melatonin in your body. So when you do go to sleep, the sleep is deeper. Get out in the sun, spend time in the sun. If you're on cancer, get out in red light.
Wow. That's the best thing I've heard.
I actually put red light up into my nose because that's where my tumor was. My last points here. Broccoli sprouts naturally boost your glutathione levels. Broccoli is very good for you, but 1 pinch of broccoli sprouts is the equivalent of an entire head of broccoli.
That's what you gave me last night was broccoli sprouts.
That is. And once again, the last things here, I'll just point out, and we can put these links in there, but read the Jack Cruz Paleo Diet. Read Joel Green, his incredible Instagram feed. He wrote the Immunity Code. If you want information on gut health, there's nobody better than Joel Green when it comes to what to do in your body. He's written 2 books on it. They're absolutely amazing. Breath by James Nestor. People don't realize how much breathing is everything. This book I probably read this book 4 times. It's absolutely stunning. I can't say enough about it. And open your Bible and read it and let it calm you down. You've got to bring down the stress on your life and add stability. And there's no hope, right, that comes into you. When you get done reading that Bible, you feel anchored and you feel stable and you don't feel like you're wandering about in fear. And I highly recommend that. Start every day with that.
I feel like I have dwelt in Psalm 91, Psalm 16, and Psalm 13. Those are ones that I have read over and over again, this last couple months. Yeah. Been very, very good, for one's soul.
I think mine was Revelation, I can't remember the exact verse, was when Christ said, "I have the keys to death and Hades." It sounds all crazy and apocalyptic, but it told me like he controls the beginning and the end of my life. So if I am to die at this state, it was in his plan. And if I'm to live on, it's the same because he has those keys.
And so I'd seen The Chosen off and on, but I just decided one weekend I'm just going to watch The Chosen from the beginning to the end. And I just remember that moment when Mary Magdalene met Jesus and she asked him to heal her. And I was with Mary right there. And I asked Jesus to please heal me from this. And I believe that that's exactly what he did. He healed me. It was a moment, very, very, I won't forget it. And where he says, "I've called you by name.
Yeah.
You are mine." And so I just took that personally and feel that God has really healed me, and he's used things that like Brian has learned, Joanne has learned, the doctors have learned. It's all been a part of the whole experience. So I'm 79 years old and ready to keep on going through my 80s.
All right, Mom. Love you. We'll wrap this up. I think we'll put links to the stuff we've discussed, at least to most of. We just sort of scratched the surface here on this information, to be honest. But there's deeper things to go into on all this. Where do you want people to find you on Instagram? Well,
I'm not a big social media person. I hate to say that. I am kind of on Instagram. Am I kind of? I'm on Instagram.
My mom still wanders Africa at her age. She grew up over there, and
I go in and out of the Congo.
She does amazing things.
But So how do we leave this? Just
I'll put links to her Instagram in case you would like to follow her or get in touch with her or want some encouragement from her. Mine is GodzillaPilgrim. I'll put that one on there. You can link to that, and I guess anything else we'll add in the points on this. I usually respond to the Instagram feed. It's about it. Anyways, thank you.
it's our story.
Call it quits.
Yes. All right.